Hi dear students, today I am going to discuss the chapter force and pressure. First, let's discuss force, then we can go to pressure. To understand the term force, let's take some daily life examples. For example, a cricket player stopping a ball or a goalkeeper saving a goal by holding the football or a hockey player flipping the ball. These are some of the examples which we can see in our daily life which involves the change in their state of motion. So how is it possible? Here I am going to explain this with a simple example. A boy is standing right to the table. Here we can see a boy is standing right to a table and a brick is placed on the table. Suppose he want to make that brick move towards to him. He need to pull the brick. On the other hand, if he want to make that brick moves away from him, he want to push it. To make the brick moving, he need to do either an action, a pull or push. Similarly, in our daily life, we need to do some other types of actions like lifting or picking, okay, lowering, flicking, different types of actions we will do to make an object to move. So when we look at all these actions, we can see that, for example, in case of lifting is a kind of pushing only. Clear? Similarly, picking is a kind of pulling. Picking is a kind of pulling. Okay. So, when we look at all these actions which are done to make an object to move, these all actions we can classify into either a push or a pull. So, we can conclude that a push or a pull, all these actions, whether you are opening a drawer or shutting a door, whatever it is, all these actions you can classify into either a pull or push. In this case, we can call a push or a pull on an object. To make that object move is called a force. So, a force is something which applied on an object to change the state of motion. Clear? That is a simple statement we can give for a force. Now, how this force will become effective? For example, here one box is there, so I am trying to pull that box. Is there any change in the state of motion or that object, is that box moving? No, because I am just trying to push that one, but still there is no interaction between my hand and the box. So to become the force effective, there should be an interaction between two objects. So an interaction of one object with the another object results in a force between the two objects. Now if I am going to push this one with the touching on the box, so now you can see that this box is moving. So this is the very important criteria that to make the force effective, there should be an interaction between two objects. And remember that the force applied by the different body or force exerted or force acted by the different agents are different. For example, a force exerted, a push or pull exerted by a small children is smaller than the force exerted by an adult. That means all the forces are not in the same strength. So the strength of the force we can call it as a magnitude of the force. Okay, so the strength of the force we can call as its magnitude, because a force has both direction as well as magnitude. For example, I can apply a same amount of force towards right or towards left. So to describe the state of force completely, we need the strength of the force as well as direction of the force. Okay, this is the basic things which we need to remember regarding force. Now let's discuss what will happen if the multiple forces acting on an object. Till now we discussed in case of single force. You might be observed that suppose in case of a breakdown of a car, many people are trying to push a car from backside to front. Instead of some persons pushing from back and some person pushing from front. So why these all people are trying to push the car from from backside, that means in the same direction, because that results in the motion of the car. The reason is that when the individual forces are applied in the same direction, the force will be get added. That means if the two forces are in the same direction, the net force or the resultant force or the effective force is the sum of the individual force. Here you can see that if two forces applied by two persons, say A and B, then the net force will be, net force means total of the force. We are using most appropriate word, which is net force instead of total force. Okay, so the resultant or net force is the sum of the two forces. That means force applied by the person A plus the force applied by the person B, that is FA plus FB. Now let's come to the second situation, that if the two forces are applied in the opposite direction, or two forces act on an object in the opposite direction, then what will be the resultant? For example, if two persons are trying to pull a table or bench in opposite direction, what will be the result? What will happen? Sometimes you can see that that bench will not move, or that object will not move, or sometimes it move with a less speed in the direction of more force. That means who applied more force, in that same direction the object will move. So that means if the two forces are applied in the different directions, then the net force acting on the object is the difference of the forces, or difference between the forces. That means here you can see that the same persons A and B are applied in two forces from opposite direction. So in that case, the net force is the difference of the individual force. That means FA minus FB, where FA is the force applied by the first person, that means person A, and FB is the force applied by the person B. So this is the basic thing we need to remember in case of multiple forces acting on an object. Clear? Next we can discuss the effect of force. A force can make, what are the things a force can make? In the beginning we have told that a force is something we have applied to change the state of motion. In addition to that, some more effect are there we will discuss. So first we can start from the state of motion. A force can change the state of motion. What is the state of motion? The state of motion is described by the speed and its direction of the motion. For example, two vehicles are moving with the same speed. That is, we can say that 60 km per hour. That is the speed of the two cars. But that doesn't mean those two cars are in the same state of motion. For example, one car moves with 60 km per hour towards north direction, and another car moves with 60 km per hour towards south direction. So that their state of motion is different, because even though their speeds same, their direction of motion different. So to describe the state of motion, we need speed as well as direction of the motion. Then one question can be asked, that what is the state of that motion of an object if an object is at rest? The state of rest is considered to be the state of zero speed. If an object is at rest, stationary, then its speed is 0 because it is not displaced, it is not getting displaced. So its state of motion is that with a 0 speed. Clear? So finally we can say that an object may be at rest or in motion. Both are its state of motion. Whether it is moving or rest, both are its part of state of motion. Clear? So we have discussed that what is a state of motion. Now we can come to the effect of force. A force can change in the state of motion. So what are the state of motion? Direction as well as speed, rest. These all things will be included. That means in all this state, a force can make some changes. Now, what are the effects of this force? Because a force can change the state of motion. So we can just again specify those effects. Okay. First effect is that a force may make an object move from rest. Similarly, a force may bring an object to rest if it is moving. Third one is that a force may change the speed of the object if it is moving. And the fourth one is that a force can change the direction of a motion of an object. And the fifth one, a force may change the shape of an object. So these are the main effects of the force. Sometimes a force brings some of this effect or all of this effect. Okay, so let's discuss one by one. First we can discuss that a force may make an object move from rest. Here you can see that one football is there. So I am going to just push that ball. This ball is at rest. Clear. So I am going to push that ball. What happened? You can see that that ball is moving now. So that means a force, a push or a pull, that is a force. So a force can make an object move from the rest. Okay, if it is at rest. Clear. Second one is that a force can bring a moving object to rest. For example, so that football is coming from there. So I am going to block that one. Okay. Now it is stopped. Clear. That means a force can bring a moving object to rest if it is moving. What is the necessary condition? We should apply the force in the opposite direction of the motion. Then it will stop. Next effect is that a force may change the speed of an object. For example, if the force applied in the same direction of motion of an object, then the speed will get increased. Here you can see that in picture, a boy is pushing a tire repeatedly to move faster. That means if the force applied in the same direction of motion, the speed of the object will get increased. Similarly, if force is applied in the direction opposite to the direction of motion, so its speed will get lower. Okay, if the applied force is too much, then the object will come to rest. Otherwise, it will just decrease its speed. Clear? So this is the fourth effect. Next one is that a force may change the direction of motion. How it is possible? Here you can see that a basketball. I am going to throw a basketball on towards the wall. Okay? So just to see what will happen. So you can see that here basketball is going and hit on the wall and it is get returned back. So in this case, when it was moving, in first case it was moving towards the right direction, while after hitting on the wall it gets back or return. That means that is moving towards the left direction, so that the direction of the motion change. Next one is that a force can change the shape of an object. Here this is actually the shape of a cuboid. Okay, rectangle. Now if I apply the force, and now it is become like a cylinder. Okay, so that a force can change the shape of an object. There are many examples you can take from your daily life like that. If you are going to press an inflated balloon, so that you can see that it will get pressed. Or in case of while you are making dough to make cake or anything, so that you can see that when you pressing on the dough, the shape of the dough will get changed. There are many examples we will get from our daily life which shows a force can make a change in its shape of an object. Clear? So, what are things we have discussed? What is a force and what is state of motion and what are the effects of force? In the next video, I will discuss the types of force, okay, and the pressure. So, read the chapter thoroughly. Thank you.